Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I am talking about two books, The Girl with All the Gifts and The Boy on the Bridge. The Girl with All the Gifts was published in 2014. It's written by Carey and I have read it probably 4 or 5 times now. I really like it. It's a really good book. I would say if you really like this book, don't watch the film. It will make you furious. So when I saw that Carey had written another book set in the same world as The Girl with All the Gifts called The Boy on the Bridge, I had to have it. I have had this book quite a long time now. It was published in 2017. It has taken me a really long time to get around to reading it. I don't know why, because I really enjoyed it. It was really good. So today I'm going to be talking about both of the books as sort of a whole. I will put a link below because I did do a more in-depth review a few years ago on my regular blog, so I'll put that link below so you can read it if you want to. So having already read The Girl with All the Gifts, I would say that The Boy on the Bridge is a prequel set before the events of The Girl with All the Gifts. I did a little bit of research and it would sort of seem that it's less of a prequel and more of a sidequel. It's sort of happening around the same time, maybe a little bit before The Girl with All the Gifts. It's a little hard to gauge, to be honest. So this book follows a group of scientists and soldiers who are moving around post-apocalyptic Britain. I think the book probably spans sort of 6 to 7 months. And they're going around in a mobile lab sort of slash command unit, so it's weaponized, it's got a full lab in it, it's got airlocks, it's got decontamination suits, it's got everything you're going to need to be in post-apocalyptic Britain with all the zombies, or hungries as they are referred to. And the tank slash lab is called the Rosalind Franklin, and they refer to her as Rosie. She plays a big part in the book. There's a young boy aboard as well. He's a genius. He is responsible for creating the E-blocker, which is a gel that they cover themselves in so that they are undetectable to the hungries, who have an excellent sense of smell and can smell a human a mile off. So he's invented E-blocker gel, which basically sort of stops the hungries from being able to smell them. So pretty soon into the book it transpires that Beacon, which is I suppose their base, their ground zero, where everybody who is not infected lives, it's where the sort of the army is, it's the safe zone basically, that goes dark. So they're basically sort of going around Britain completely blind, trying to find a cure, or research to find a cure. So as you know from my other vlogs, this is a completely spoiler-free zone. I don't like to divulge too much of the storyline at all, because I firmly believe that you should read these books for yourself and discover them for yourself and make your own judgments. So no spoilers at all. The Boy on the Bridge is quite similar to The Girl with All the Gifts in that it's got a different zombie apocalypse vibe. It's not your traditional zombie story, which I really like because they can be a little bit samey. So having a new take or a new spin on it is really interesting. So as we learned in The Girl with All the Gifts, not all zombies... Figaro. He has no respect for literature. Not all hungries are alike, and the children really are our future. So it sort of builds up to the finale, which is huge and dramatic and intense. it's really climactic, the ending. I really, really loved the ending. I couldn't read it fast enough. And as soon as I finished it, I had to immediately start The Girl with All the Gifts. I think I finished The Boy on the Bridge at about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I started The Girl with All the Gifts straight after and read through a good quarter of it before I went to sleep. So The Girl with All the Gifts follows the story of Melanie, who, after the research base that she is kept at is attacked by junkers who are sort of Mad Max-esque survivalists. They're not pleasant people. They're almost worse than the Hungries, I would say. So Melanie, Miss Justineau, her teacher, the very horrible Dr. Caldwell, Sarge, and another young soldier, they all flee together. Sarge is incredibly mistrusting of Melanie, who, after all, would bite your face off given half the chance. She soon proves herself to him, and they sort of form your typical unlikely bond. They eventually stumble across Rosie, the Rosalind Franklin from The Boy on the Bridge, who's been abandoned. So they manage to get into her to get her up and running, and they're able to use her. So that sort of brings the two books together almost. Dr. Caldwell features sort of by proxy almost. She's mentioned, she's discussed in The Boy on the Bridge, but she obviously features quite heavily in The Girl with All the Gifts. So once they find Rosie, or the Rosalind Franklin, things do start to get slowly worse, as they do in post-apocalyptic Britain. The two books, I would say, are almost mirrors of each other. So Melanie from The Girl with All the Gifts she's talkative, she's forthright, she is a hungry, and Stephen in The Boy on the Bridge is sort of still a regular human. He has not been infected. He's silent, he's awkward, he is also a genius, he's incredibly clever. There is a grisly sergeant in each book who sort of goes from being quite distrustful to trusting in typical novel fashion. There are scientists in each book. One in The Boy on the Bridge, she's called Samrina. She is probably, I would say, the protagonist of the story almost, alongside Stephen. She is almost a mirror image of Miss Justineau from The Girl. So they both sort of look after the child. They're very fond of the child. They try to protect them. They try to look after them. So they sort of mirror each other in both the books. Dr. Caldwell sort of is kind of standalone. She's horrible. She shouldn't be in both books. She is a really unpleasant character. And if you have read The Girl with All the Gifts, you'll know how deeply unpleasant she is. And there's also a young, wet behind the ears soldier in each book. And their story in particular is very, very similar. What happens to both of them is very similar. Both books are so well written. They really are. I love these books. The Boy on the Bridge is paced maybe a little bit slower than The Girl with All the Gifts. It takes maybe a little longer to sort of build into the story. And they both have really intense endings. The Girl with All the Gifts, I would say, leaves it maybe open a little bit so you can decide what happens next for yourself. I quite like that about it. Will they ever find a cure? And at what cost will they find that cure? I feel that both Stephen and Melanie, in their own ways, discovered the truth about the cure and about the future. And they both dealt with it in quite a similar way, to be honest. Again, a mirror image, and that makes the books flow together really nicely. They sort of follow on from each other, they wrap around each other, they hug each other. They are the perfect pair of books, they really are. I loved The Boy on the Bridge, as I felt we gained a little bit more background knowledge, and we learned a little bit more about how the plague started, how things deteriorated, how society fell apart. We learned a little bit more about that, and that was really interesting, because a lot of the Girl with All the Gifts, some of it was guesswork really. You sort of assumed what had happened, whereas The Boy on the Bridge sort of confirms some of that, so that was really good. The Boy on the Bridge really pulls both stories together. I give both of them 4.5 out of 5 stars. High praise indeed. I would recommend that if you have both of these books, read The Boy on the Bridge first and then read The Girl with All the Gifts straight after. I would say that's the way to do it. Other people might have different opinions, but having personally read both of these books now, The Girl with All the Gifts previously, and then The Boy on the Bridge, and then this one again after, I would say this is the right order to do them in. You will really, really enjoy these books. If you love a post-apocalyptic drama, if you love zombies, if you love something that is intense and action-packed, then these books are definitely for you. So that's my review of these 2 books. Let me know in the comments below if you've read either of these. Let me know if you saw the movie, and if you did see the film of The Girl with All the Gifts, let me know what you thought, because I was livid when I watched it. So if you've read either of these, let me know below. I'd love to talk to someone about them. I highly recommend that if you haven't got either of these books, then you borrow them, buy them, or steal them. Obviously don't, I'm not condoning theft, don't steal them, but you know, get yourself copies of these books. They're brilliant. They really are. Really worth a read. So that's my review. I will be back soon with another review on A Stellosaurus Reads. Don't forget you can find me on Goodreads to see what I'm reading at the moment, and I'll pop a link below. If you like this video, then give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to keep up to date with everything that I'm doing, and I will see you soon.